Hello there. Well, as part of Unit 9, you have this conversation strategy, and the idea is to give different opinions. So we're going to learn expressions and we're going to practice conversations and how to do this. So the first one is expressions to give different opinions. These expressions, remember, they show that you may disagree. You might disagree with somebody, but the way that you say it using these expressions make it sound more polite. So you can disagree, but using these expressions, you can also make the statements polite. Okay? So here you can see the expressions would be, I know what you mean, but the next one, that's true. Though, and you give your opinion. Maybe you're right. On the other hand, another one, I don't know. Okay, another expression, I'm not so sure. Sorry, I am not so sure. The other one, don't you think, and you give an opinion, okay? So you can see there are different expressions and we're going to see how we use them. So look at the following example.
I'd get tired of playing that game by myself. Actually, I'm playing with two other guys. See? Starship and Bronco. We play together all the time. They're kind of like friends. I don't know. You don't even know their real names, you know? That's true. It's still fun though. We are like a team. You know what I mean? Maybe. On the other hand, they are not real friends. I mean, you don't know anything about them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know what you mean. But you don't have to know people to enjoy doing stuff with them. I'm not so sure. Don't you think it's good to spend time with real friends, face to face? Sure. So why don't you come and play?
As you saw in the dialogue, or you heard in the dialogue both, you can see the expression, I don't know. Hugo says, I don't know. You don't even know their real names. Okay, so you can see the expression, I don't know. Then he continues and he says, you know what I mean. Okay, then he uses the expression, Hugo, maybe. On the other hand, and then he states his opinion. You know what I'm saying, okay? Those are different expressions where you express opinions. Yeah, Greg says, I know what you mean. There he is expressing his opinion, but then he continues, but you don't have to know people to enjoy doing stuff with them. So there he understands the other person, but he still gives his opinion, all right? Then Hugo says, don't you think? All right, and he continues giving his idea. So there, the thing is that with this part of Unit 9, we have to learn how to express ourselves when we want to give different opinions. Now, there's another cultural note here. Pay attention. When speakers have two conflicting opinions or two opposite opinions and want to express both, they can introduce the first opinion with this expression, on one hand. And then they can continue giving the opposite opinion, okay? On the other hand, look at the example. These two people are talking about the use of the email, all right? So one of them says, on the one hand, using the email, it's quick, easy, and cheap. On the other hand, it's not really very personal. Okay, it's an opinion. So he uses the expression on the one hand, and then he gives an opposite opinion on the other hand. Okay, So don't forget that. Now, taking into account this that we just studied, you might be thinking, how can I participate in class? What can I use? What can I do? So you're going to think and you're going to comment or give an opinion through a short conversation what we studied in this unit. Okay? Think of what we said in the slides before with those expressions, and you're going to use it like the example you had there. Right? So here you can see the expressions. I know what you mean, but you can see in that expression, I know what you mean is how I say it in isolation. But if you remember what we said about speaking rapidly, there's a phenomenon there. I know what you mean, okay? The other one is that's true, though I don't quite agree, for example. Well, you have the different expressions that we already mentioned before. You can use any of those expressions and let us see how it would be in an example, okay? This lady is talking to her friend and she says, I spend hours on my social network site. It's a great way to keep in touch with people. But her friend has another opinion. I don't know. Don't you think you should have some privacy? Okay, so he's expressing his opinion by using this I don't know, and etc. The rest of the phrase you have there, and he is being polite by saying that. Okay, remember, sometimes we can talk with other people and say things and not necessarily mean an offense, but in English you do have expressions that you use, the ones we studied already, the ones you can see here, and by using these you are being polite. Okay, now you're gonna try it. Remember, you're going to make like short conversations like we saw previously. So think of something, and in the class I'm going to choose somebody else to give you an opinion about what you say, and the other way round. So that's how we're going to work in the next class. Keep it in mind, and well, I hope that will be clear. All right? Alright, the midterm is coming, but I'm going to give you a short review for the test. These are the things you have to consider and think about for the test. So we have here, remember first of all, the test is going to be about Unit 7, 8 and 9, okay? So we had as the first part, the use of wish. Wish. When you wish, you want something, right? So for example, you have in the test, you're going to have an example like this. You're going to have a space, and in parentheses you're going to have the verb, and you would have to put it in the correct tense. So look at the example. I wish I, in parentheses you have not have, to move. I really like this apartment, but it's just too expensive. So how would you change it in the test? What you have in blue and underline, that's how it would be. So at the end you have, I wish I didn't have to move. I really like this apartment, but it's just too expensive. Okay, do you get it? I hope you did. You have to change then and use the correct form of the verb that you are given. I'm going to give you the verbs. You would have to select which one is okay according to the word we're using. In this case is wish. But then you have the conditional. With the conditional you have, for example, the same idea. In parentheses maybe, or I will give you the choices and you would have to complete the sentence. So if you have something like this, well, what, in parentheses, you do if you, in parentheses, have a roommate. So at the end, you will have to select which is the best way. Well, what would you do if you had a roommate? Okay, so according to the conditionals, I know that I have to use the would or the could and the past tense of the verb, or the other way around. The past tense of the verb, right? If, past tense, and then I will have would or could. Okay, so try to remember that. Then you have the relative clauses, and you will have to choose. For example, you can have who and which, and you will have to complete the sentence. So for example, I have several friends. You have the option there, who or which, I met at work. So you will have to choose, which is the correct? Very good. Who for people, which for things. So at the end the sentence would be, I have several friends who I met at work. Okay? So you're always going to have the option there. That's what you have to keep in mind. But if you're clear with the theory and the structure and the tenses, you will have no problem. Then the other part that we studied here in Unit 9 was questions within questions. Questions with questions, or indirect questions. So you have, for example, here, how much did your sister's laptop cost? And you have the first idea here, the first phrase, I have no idea. And maybe you would have to complete the rest. How would it be at the end? How much did your sister's laptop cost? I have no idea how much my sister's laptop cost. So as you can see there, you just copy it, okay? But after writing the word, WH question, how much, then you need the noun, which is my sister's laptop, and then you put the verb, okay? So the verb remembers in past because I'm using did. All right, so you do have to pay attention to the tenses. Let us look at another example, right? I have here with the modal verb can. You can have may, any other modal verb. They act as auxiliaries. So you have, can you remember how to hook the computer? Okay, so I give you the option, for example, the computer hook and up. So you will have to complete it. Can you remember how to hook the computer? That's how you would have to write it. Remember, when you use a modal verb, I use the infinitive form. Okay? How to hook, how to clean, how to study. Can you remember how to fix the computer? Okay, I will give you the verb. You can see it there at the bottom in parentheses. Hook up. But you could use any other verb. For example, fix, repair. So can you remember how to fix the computer? Can you remember how to repair the computer? I can use anything there, but when I use a modal, can, may, will, ought to, whichever it is, I have to use the infinitive form. Okay, I hope that is clear. I am not giving you exercises now, just examples, because I think you have the workbook and the course book where you have a lot of exercises where you can practice this, okay? So keep it in mind. And the last part that we repeated throughout several units was the use of the phrasal verbs. So for example, you're going to have a sentence and you would have to complete it with the particle. The particle would be the preposition. Yeah, do you remember? Okay, so you have an example like this one. My friend wants to return the money he owes me, but I told him not to worry. I have to complete a word there. So I choose the word about. My friend wants to return the money he owes me, but I told him not to worry about it, because worry accepts about. Okay, so you will have a few options in the test, about, for, or to, whatever, and you will have to select which is the appropriate. At the end, the sentence once again, my friend wants to return the money he owes me, but I told him not to worry about it. I don't need it right now. Okay, so guys, these are the things that you have to take into account for the test. I hope it's clear. Practice. If you have any questions, don't forget to write to me, and if you have any doubts, let me know so I can explain a little bit if we have time in the class. Okay, guys, that will be all for now. See you next time. Bye bye.